Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor. Now, it's real time.
Welcome back, everyone. And like I've already mentioned, if you have kids in your family, maybe you've got your kids and they have friends, whoever it might be, right? If you want to get out there and give them some exposure to the outdoors, fishing, hunting, hiking, but again, it doesn't matter. As long as you get them out there to let them know that there's a lot of options other than playing on games, this is a good one for you. Katherine Cory from Columbia Springs. Katherine, it's really nice to meet you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. These are things that, you know, we've talked a little bit about this before, exposure, right? Information. Sometimes people aren't able to get that for whatever reason, and this is a great way to do so. So tell everybody what it is that you do, what Columbia Springs does, and what this event is that's coming up on the 18th of May.
Yeah, so Columbia Springs is an outdoor environmental education center. We are housed in eastern Vancouver in a 100-acre natural area, and we are hosted by the Vancouver Trout Hatchery. And that's been there since 1938.
Wow.
We raise about 400 to 500,000 fish a year. And it's a combination of rainbow trout, steelhead, and chum salmon.
It's an interesting combo. We talked about that. I was like, having chum in there, that's really, really cool.
So we're kind of a mix of all things great outdoors, right? So we've got a hatchery, we've got trails that are open to the public every single day. And then we have a host of great educational opportunities for kids. So we do a field trip program where we get kids from all over Vancouver to come out and do 2- and 4-hour field trips. And then we have a salmon in the classroom program, which is one of the only ones that runs for the full school year. So kids get to raise fish twice. They do both the fingerlings in the fall, and then they do eggs in the winter and the springtime, and kids get to release them into local waterways. And then we have this great kids fishing festival that comes up in May every year, and it's wonderful. It's a great way to get those young little kids all the way up to 14 to come out and get really excited.
Yeah, and it's, you know, I mentioned this earlier, having some success when they're doing that is always a good thing. It's not mandatory. It's not the only thing. That's not what it's all about. But it's certainly fun, right? And it's something that they'll always remember no matter what.
Yeah, one of our goals is to get kids to see themselves as being both successful in the outdoors, see themselves as successful scientists. So when they get to do field trips, we give them all the big tools. They get microscopes, they get to find out about macroinvertebrates, they know what a healthy ecosystem looks like so that they know and love and care about what these fish need. And then when they release those fish out into the waterways, they are so excited to see those little baby coho go out. They sing them songs and write them these beautiful little like poems. And it's the most cathartic experience ever. It's very sad, but also really joyful.
Yeah, well, I get it totally. I mean, they put a lot of work into that. They get a chance to really, you know, put themselves into it and see it come to fruition, and again, of course, releasing them.
A lot of those kids come back in 3 to 5 years and they go back to the same places they released with their families so they can hopefully see their fish return.
That's even cooler.
Yeah.
So they get to understand from beginning to end when they return. Of course, if you're unaware, when salmon come back, that's kind of where they stay. They do their thing. That's really, really cool. How long have you been doing this? I've
been at Columbia Springs for 3.5 years. The organization itself is over 20 years old. We're almost 25. We're not quite ready to celebrate yet, but we're close. The hatchery was built in 1938.
Wow.
It was part of a Works Progress Administration project, and they've been rearing fish there ever since.
Gotcha. Now, for these kids that come out and they get a chance, for first-timers especially, you've had a chance to at least experience this enough to see the difference in these kids. What are the positive things that you see, maybe from a child that comes in that has never seen this before, to when they leave from that event?
So kids that come to this event and their families, they get to spend a lot of time doing more than just fishing, which I think kind of sets the tone for the rest of it. So they're excited. They get to come in and see these really great activities that both our education team hosts, but also our partner organizations. And then when they go to the actual place where we do fishing, they get their own pole. They have a fishing mentor, which are all volunteers, which is great. And then they get to take a little time to actually find and be successful with those fish. Almost every kid comes home with at least one fish. If they want to. And then sometimes more than one. Those fish are cute little, you know, they're hatchery fish. They're adorable. They're about yay big. And then we also have some secret big fish in there that are just, they're really fun for kids to catch, like that really big one. So they see them swimming around and they're like sharks and they think, I'm going to get that one. And that's what they try for.
She said, the first thing that popped in my mind, standing here doing this with dun, 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 get the kid out in front of the thing. I mean, think about it, how much fun of those, again, for kids that might not have experienced this before, it's for you parents out there, grandparents, whatever it is, you don't have to be scared of this. Quite honestly, it's such an experience for the family Of course, you want the kids to be involved and have fun, but the parents and the adults can learn something as well.
We make sure that the activities range in age. So we've got it so that even families that have kids that are too little of fish can come out and they can spend time and they learn about, like, Smell Your Way Home, which was a fun activity to figure out how salmon.
Smell Your Way Home.
It's called Smell Your Way Home.
Okay, all right.
It's how it's how salmon come home. They use scent and they figure out how they're going to get there. And it's an activity we get kids to see how hard it is to actually get from the ocean back to your home for spawning.
Yes, absolutely.
And they get excited because it's a really fun game. Although, as you know, all salmon roads lead to death.
Well.
But that's okay.
Right.
It's a really great activity for kids to appreciate the brevity of that experience with tiny fish that grow to big fish, and they have a great purpose.
Yeah.
And then we have activities that for adults too, so they can enjoy all of the things that are there on site. Plus, it's beautiful. It's surrounded by trees.
Yeah.
We've got lakes. We've got streams that come through. It's a really great day for everybody.
Yeah, and it's obviously, like you mentioned, in a beautiful area. So there's a lot of things to do. Yes, the fishing is, maybe paramount. That's what the top thing is, maybe. But there's a lot of other things that are going on for the kids to enjoy themselves. And this is how these kids learn that they can be part of this system as they go forward, as they grow up. They can keep that in their mind. If they become fishermen or not, that's completely different. That doesn't matter. But they know what's going on. They have that education. They know that they can be part of the fix, right? That there's ways that they can help in the long run, and especially under the attacks that we're in. It's just incredible sometimes how bad that can be. But for folks that are watching, how can they, one, volunteer, two, get the kids involved, donate, whatever they can do? What's the best way for them to do that?
Everything's on our website. So our website is columbiasprings.org,
okay,
all one word, and we have a spot there for Kids Fishing Festival. Registration's going to open up on March 18th, so 2 months before the event. You can register your kid there. It costs $8. You get lunch, and you get to come home with a pole and all sorts of fun stuff from our partners.
Yeah.
And then also in there is a link for volunteering. You can click on Get Involved and Volunteer, like it's showing there, and then you can sign up for being a volunteer with us. It takes about 60 volunteers to run this event.
Wow, how many kids are going to be there?
Staff. Almost 300.
Wow, okay. Yeah. So certainly, if there's lots of different ways that you can get involved, right? Get the kids out there, but if you want to volunteer and help, that by itself is a selfless act to help out with getting this program up and running and going.
Volunteering is such a gift. It's great because you get to give your time, which is finite and wonderful, and
sure.
It allows you to spend time giving to your community, but you also receive so much back from it.
Sure.
Watching a kid be so excited catching a fish for the first time is something that you'll never get to share again with that person. It's so wonderful.
Yeah, that's really cool. And you mentioned earlier that the volunteers, the fish helpers, the ones that are going to be helping, you had a term for it.
Mentors, fishing mentors.
Fishing mentors. Okay, so when I was growing up, even at the trout pond at the sportsman show, it was my dad in the background barking, don't lose it, come. So having a third party out there can be an advantage, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that can be fun.
Our mentors are the cheerleaders for the kids that come out, so they go and they stand behind them and encourage them how to do what they need to do, but they also let kids be their own leaders.
Sure.
So kids get to see how successful they can be, and then they reel in that fish, and if that fish may be one of those big ones, they'll help them reel it in, because it might be hard to reel in a 8-pound trout.
What? An 8-pound trout? Yeah, that's not easy to do. No, trust me, I try to do that all the time. Okay, so again, folks that are out there watching, go to the website. You can get registered there. This is May 18th.
May 18th.
Is it an all-day event, or is it?
It runs all day. We have people sign up in slots so that it is organized chaos.
Oh, okay, fair enough. That makes sense, especially with 300 kids coming through.
Yes, so people come in, they get 1-hour slots. You can pick what time works for you and your family. There's things to do both before and after. All the parking is public, so it's free, which is great.
Yeah.
And it's a really fun way to spend your day.
Yeah, it sounds like a great way to really give some education that the kids can really, really utilize.
Yeah.
And is there an age range that you think
We go from 5 to 14.
Okay.
It's a great way for kids to get excited about it, and then once they're done with this event, they can go to the other lakes. So the hatchery itself stocks 4 places throughout Clark County.
Right.
It supplies 90% of the fish to the sport angling fishing for trout in the county.
Okay.
And so we've got Klein Line Ponds, Lacamas Lake, and Battleground, but also there's another creek that we also do.
Okay, very cool.
It's really cool.
So it certainly gets spread around.
It's spread around.
Well, I can tell you, everyone, if you have that opportunity, it's May 18th. Go to their website. You can learn all the information that you need there. And just go have some fun. Give the kids an opportunity where they can, well, one, maybe decide that they really love fishing. Or they decide, that's not quite for me, but let's go hiking. And that's the opportunities that they have. There's a lot to do in the outdoors. Fishing, hunting, hiking, biking. Again, it makes no difference. It just has to be an opportunity for the kids to do so that they can learn it, right?
Yeah.
And you guys do a fantastic job. I can tell you, before we brought you on, we have a small Facebook page. So if we get a few responses of folks going, we really want to hear this information, it's a much larger number. You guys do some great stuff and people are aware of it. So I'm glad that we can bring more info out there. So well done.
Thank you so much for having us.
You're very welcome. Thanks for coming in and sharing some of the info. When we come back, we're going to have that Chevy Silverado Tech Tip of the Week. We're going to talk about what I was talking about a couple weeks ago on how I want to improve my odds on maybe being more successful this year chasing some Chinook around. It was tough last year. We'll be right back.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by Chevy Silverado and the impressive new Turbo Max engine. Flex your muscle with the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. Official truck of Outdoor GPS.